Book of Heaven, Volume 6. 2nd to the 30th of May 1905. Page 78 to 84. May 2, 1905. The three types of resurrection which suffering contains. As I continued to be in suffering a little more than usual, on coming, my good Jesus told me, "My daughter, suffering contains three types of resurrection. First, suffering makes the soul rise again to grace. Second, as suffering advances, it gathers the virtues and the soul rises again to sanctity. Third, as suffering continues, it perfects the virtues, it embellishes them with splendor, forming a beautiful crown. And the soul, crowned, rises again to glory on earth, and to glory in heaven." Having said this, he disappeared. May 5, 1905. Effects of grace. As I was in my usual state, blessed Jesus came for just a little, and it seemed that another image, completely similar to him, would come out from within his interior, only, it was smaller. I was surprised on seeing this, and he said to me, "My daughter, everything that can come out from within a person is called a birth, and this birth becomes the child of the one who delivers of it. Now, this daughter of mine is grace which, coming out of me, communicates herself to all the souls who want to receive her and transmutes them into as many other children of mine. Not only this, but everything good and virtuous that can come out of these second children, becomes the children of grace. See now, what a long generation of children grace forms for herself, if only they receive her. But, how many reject her? And my daughter comes back into my womb, alone and childless." While he was saying this, that image enclosed herself within me, filling me completely with herself. May 9, 1905. The soul who is united to grace can do what death must do to her nature. Continuing in my usual state, it seemed to me that my adorable Jesus was coming out from within my interior, and with sweet and affable voice he was saying, "And why, my daughter, can the soul, united to grace, not do in advance everything that death must do to her nature? That is, making it die in advance, for love of God, to everything to which it will have to die. But only those who dwell continuously with my grace come to have this blessed death, because by living with God it is easier for them to die to everything that is fleeting. And as the soul lives with God and dies to all the rest, her very nature comes to anticipate the privileges which must enrich her at the resurrection. That is, she will feel spiritualized, deified and incorruptible, in addition to all the goods in which the soul will take part, feeling herself the partaker in all the privileges of divine life. In addition to this, there is the distinction of glory which these souls will have in heaven. They will be so different from the others, as heaven is different from the earth. Having said this, he disappeared. May 12, 1905. The means not to lose the love of Jesus. As I was in my usual state, my blessed Jesus came for just a little, and on seeing him, I don't know why, I said to him, "Lord, still, this is something that lacerates my soul. The thought that I might lose your love." And he, "My daughter, who told you this? In all things my paternal goodness has administered the means to help the creature, as long as these means would not be rejected. So, the means not to lose my love is to hold my love and everything that regards me as if it were one's own. Can one lose all that is his? Certainly not. At the most, if he has no esteem for something that is his own, he will not have the care to keep it in a safe place. But if he has no esteem for it and does not keep it in a safe place, it is a sign that he does not love it, and therefore that object no longer contains the life of love and cannot be numbered among his own things. But when one makes my love his own, he esteems it, he keeps it in a safe place, he always keeps an eye on it, in such a way that he cannot lose what is his, either in life or in death. May 15, 1905. The path of virtue is easy. Continuing in my usual state, blessed Jesus came for a little and told me, "My daughter, they say that the path of virtue is difficult. False. It is difficult for one who does not move, because knowing neither the graces nor the consolations she would receive from God, nor the help for her to move, it seems difficult to her, and without moving she feels all the weight of the journey. But for one who moves, it is extremely easy, because the grace that inundates her fortifies her, The beauty of the virtues attracts her. The divine spouse of souls carries her cleaving to his arm, accompanying her along the journey. And the soul, instead of feeling the weight, the difficulty of moving, wants to hasten her way in order to reach, more quickly, the end of the path and of her very center. May 18, 1905. Love deserves preference above everything. Continuing in my usual state, blessed Jesus came for just a little and told me, "My daughter, fear takes life away from love." Not only this, but also the very virtues which do not originate from love decrease the life of love in the soul. On the contrary, in all things love deserves preference, because love makes everything easy, while the very virtues which do not originate from love are like many victims that end up in a slaughter, that is, the destruction of the virtues themselves. May 20, 1905. The Way of Suffering of Jesus. This morning I was thinking of when blessed Jesus remained all dislocated on the cross, and I said to myself, "Ah, Lord, how tormented you must have been by sufferings so atrocious, and how afflicted your soul must have been." At that moment, almost like a shadow, he came and told me, "My daughter, I did not occupy myself with my sufferings, but rather, I occupied myself with the purpose of my pains. And since in my pains I could see the will of the Father fulfilled, I suffered, and in my very suffering I found the sweetest rest." In fact, doing the divine will contains this good. While one suffers, one finds the most beautiful rest. And if one enjoys, but this enjoyment is not wanted by God, in the very enjoyment one finds the most atrocious torment. Even more, the closer I would come to the end of the pains, yearning to fulfill the will of the Father in everything, the more relieved I would feel, and my rest would become more beautiful. Oh, how different is the way of souls! If they suffer or operate, their gaze is neither on the fruit which they can obtain nor on the fulfillment of the divine will. Rather, they concentrate all of themselves on the thing that they are doing, and not seeing the goods which they can earn or the sweet rest that the will of God brings, they live bothered and tormented, and they shun suffering and operating as much as they can, thinking of finding rest. But they remain more tormented than before. May 23, 1905. In order not to feel disturbance, the soul must found herself well in God. This morning I found myself outside of myself, and I felt someone in my arms, with his head leaning on my shoulder. I could not manage to see who he was, so I pulled him by force, saying to him, "Tell me at least who you are." And he, "I am the All." On hearing him say he was the All, I said, "And I am the Nothing." See, Lord, how right I am that this Nothing must remain united with the All, otherwise it will be like a handful of dust which the wind scatters away. In the meantime I saw someone who was doubtful, and was saying, "How is it that for every slightest thing, one feels so much disturbance?" And I, through a light that came from blessed Jesus, said, in order not to feel disturbance, the soul must found herself well in God, tend to God with all of herself as though to one single point, and look at the other things with indifferent eyes. But if she does otherwise, in everything she does, sees or hears, she will feel her soul invested with a disquiet, like those slow fevers that make the soul all worn out, disturbed, unable, herself, to make head or tail of anything. May 25, 1905. The Image of Jesus in the Soul. As I was in my usual state, I could see blessed Jesus outside and inside my interior. If I would see him as a child outside, as a child I would see him inside. If I would see him crucified outside, I would see the same inside. I remained surprised, and he said to me, "My daughter, when my image is formed completely in the interior of the soul, whatever form I want to assume externally in order to look at myself, the same one is assumed by my image which I have formed in the soul. What is the wonder then?" May 26, 1905. When the soul is all of Jesus, he feels her murmuring within his being. As I was outside of myself, I found myself with baby Jesus in my arms, and I said to him, "My pretty little one, I am all and always yours. Oh, please, do not permit anything to flow within me, be it even a shadow, which is not yours." And he, "My daughter, when the soul is all mine, I feel a continuous murmuring of her being within me. I feel this continuous murmuring of hers flow in my voice, in my heart, in my mind, in my hands, in my steps, and even in my blood. Oh, how sweet is this murmuring of hers in me! And as I feel it, I keep repeating, everything, everything, everything of this soul is mine, and I love you so much. And I seal the murmuring of my love in her. So, just as I feel hers, the soul feels my murmuring in all of her being. Therefore, if the soul feels my murmuring flow in all of herself, it is a sign that the soul is all mine. May 29, 1905. One who rests in the arms of obedience receives all the divine colors. This morning, on coming, blessed Jesus threw himself into my arms as if he wanted to rest, and he said to me, "So must the soul rest in the arms of obedience, like a child rests safely in the arms of his mother." And one who rests in the arms of obedience receives all the divine colors, because when someone is truly sleeping, one can do to him whatever he wants. In the same way, when someone truly rests in the arms of obedience, it can be said that he is sleeping, and God can do to the soul whatever he wants. May 30, 1905. The Life of Love of Jesus. Continuing in my usual state, I was saying, "Lord, what do you want from me? Manifest your holy will to me." And he, "My daughter, I want you all in me, so that I may find everything in you. Just as all creatures had life in my humanity and I satisfied for all, in the same way, by being all in me, you will make me find all creatures in you. That is to say, united with me, you will make me find reparation for all, satisfaction, thanksgiving, praise and everything that the creatures are obliged to give me, within yourself." In addition to divine life and human life, love administered a third life to me, which made all the lives of creatures germinate within my humanity. This is the life of love which, while giving me life, gave me continuous death. It beat me and fortified me, it humiliated me and raised me, it embittered me and sweetened me, it tormented me and gave me delights. What does this life of love not contain, untiring and ever ready for everything? Everything, everything can be found in it. Its life is ever new and eternal. Oh, how I wish to find this life of love in you, so as to have you always in me, and to find everything in you.